What do you think of Ty Davis Price? Give me your scouting report to him.
So Ty Davis Price, I try to separate the player from the value because the running back value to me is not very high. And it depends on what you're drafting this guy for. Now, if you're talking about drafting Najee Harris in the first round, or even maybe some of these other guys like Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall, who went top of the second, and you're like, well, this is going to be our every down back, then I understand it. But if you're telling me you're drafting a running back to be more of an insurance policy because you had a lot of backs injured last season, you had to use Deebo Samuel in that role a little bit, that's when I get a little bit weird by the pick.
Right.
Just because the value of being able to find a back that can not only fill in, but contribute. And the 49ers have done very well with either late round draft picks or undrafted guys that can fill in and run well, right? To where people are like, oh, no, you got to keep him. Oh, you can't cut this guy, right? Like they've done well enough. So from that standpoint, I didn't like the value. And I was a little
Look at Jeff
confused.
Wilson Jr., right?
Right. I mean, their last 4 leading rushers. And again, if you're telling me you're drafting him to be the every down back, or 3 down back, like most of the time, he's going to be your leading rusher, then I understand it.
Yes.
But if you're not drafting to be that, then, I don't understand. The last 4 leading rushers by the 49ers have been either undrafted or a 6th-round pick like in Elijah Mitchell. So from that standpoint, I don't understand the value. Now, the player, the evaluation of it, I like him. I think he fits what Kyle Shanahan wants. He's a put his foot in the ground, get north right now. I think he does a lot of sudden things in it. Listen, I'm not saying he is this guy, but there's some things that he did that kind of reminded me of him. And like Frank Gore, right? Like I remember watching Frank Gore run, and he turned like a player that's blocked up for 1 yard, he turned into 3 or 4.
Okay.
Right. And when Ty Davis Price, I saw some of that where he was able to kind of get skinny and dip and get skinny in between certain holes between the A and the B gap. And then once he gets through there, he has enough speed and power, and you see the kind of mass that he has to be able to run through defenders at the second level. I think because of his size and speed, a lot of people really didn't want to tackle him in the open field like that. So he'd make guys miss. Like he's not Shady McCoy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But just when you see that size and speed, it's like, oh, let me throw an arm out there. He'll run through that. So there was a lot about his ability that I liked. The vision I thought was terrific. So again, I like it, especially if you're telling me like, hey, we're bringing him in because, maybe y'all don't know it, but there were some things that we didn't care for with Elijah Mitchell, but he was the best we had. So we want to bring in someone that's going to either compete with him or potentially even take that spot, or maybe just push Elijah Mitchell to be even better. But overall, the player, I like it more than the draft slot / value.
I'm guessing the thing that the 49ers like least about Elijah Mitchell is the fact that he gets hurt so much.
Right.
He's in and out. He's kind of small. I think they want him to gain 10 to 15 pounds this offseason. He should be their starter week 1. I don't know. Who do you think is better right now?
Well, listen, the crazy thing. Oh, my bad, yo. The crazy thing with Elijah Mitchell is when he was at Raging Cajuns, he was actually like bigger. He was heavier.
That's right.
And I think he played around 215 or so, closer to 220. And I thought he dropped a lot of weight to just run better at his pro day, which he ran in the high 4.3s, right? And, I think he weighed in at 201. That wasn't the weight that he played at, though. So I was assuming like, oh, he's going to, get back up to closer to 215. And I heard him say, well, I have to get back up to 215. So clearly that's not what he played at last year. And I think maybe that kind of hurt him a little bit. Some of the injuries he had, knee injuries, ribs, he played with a lot of those things throughout the year. So on top of playing with a banged up knee and ribs, and I've talked to certain people inside the building, they didn't even know if he was going to be able to suit up. Somehow he was. And even then, Kyle Shanahan was still like, oh, we're still going to run you 27 times, regardless of all these injuries that you have. So
in the 8-man fronts, when everyone knew the Niners were running, it was like, Kyle, leave the kid alone. Stop.
Right. Yeah. Run. I mean, just run Jeff Wilson. Like you've showed that you like Jeff Wilson. Just give him 8 carries, even if it's just to give Mitchell a little bit of a break.
Who's a better running back, Jeff Wilson Jr. or Ty Davis Price right now?
Oh, it's hard to say. I'd say Ty Davis Price has a little bit more juice.
Okay. Yeah.
It's hard to say just who's flat out better because I've seen Jeff Wilson run well at the NFL level.
He's a good receiver too.
And he's a good pass catcher at the backfield.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't like to say like rookie gonna come in, he's just better than the next guy. But I'd say there are things about Ty Davis Price that I like more. I'd say this: Ty Davis Price is the better prospect coming out of college
for sure
than Jeff Wilson.
Do you find it interesting that Kyle went from a guy who was pretty much infatuated with scatbacks and just wanted like 3 dudes who ran 4.3 who were 200 pounds to now a guy who's looking for like, dude, if you're not 220 pounds, I don't know if you can play for me. Like, how did this happen? Just because the injuries?
Well, I think, how did he end up liking a guy like Trey Lance, right? I think as you continue to coach, you start to find different things that you want in a player. And it's like, I like this, but this isn't bad either. And you see so many things around the league that are working with other teams, and you kind of figure out how you can incorporate that into your offense. And I think, that's good, right? That shows that he's not totally stubborn, right? He's definitely stubborn to a certain extent, but he's open-minded enough to say, you know what, I typically like this type of guy, but let me go and get this other type of back or quarterback.
Right. Look, I'm with you on this. To wrap up Ty Davis Price, if they drafted him to be their starting running back because they felt like Elijah Mitchell really isn't built for that role, I get it. If they drafted Ty Davis Price to be like a rotational committee back who's gets 10 to 13 carries a game, you could have got that guy. Jordan Mason could do that. I like it. I mean, I don't understand. So yeah, I think a lot of pressure on Kyle to justify this pick. Use him.
Gotta use him. And you don't want to, and again, I know a lot of people will hold the Trey Sermon thing, right? Like that, Trey Sermon didn't work, and just drafting him 3rd round. I mean, like that 3rd round pick is over and done with now. Whatever happens with Trey Sermon from here, if he improves on some of the things, I know how there's exit meetings go. They told him straight up, hey, this is where we are with you. Here are the things that we want you to improve on. Go work on these things in the offseason, and you'll have as much of a shot as anyone else come training camp. So he has to really work on those things. I'm not all the way out on Trey Sermon just yet.
No, it's too early, but doesn't it feel like this pick is kind of it's obviously putting Trey Sermon on notice. What do they not like about Trey Sermon, and what's the difference between him and Ty Davis Price?
I'd say Trey Sermon. Okay, Ty Davis Price, watching him, I think he's like a combination of both Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. Okay. Right? Where, Elijah Mitchell, the one thing that I think he did very well was he, in that outside zone stretch or inside zone, whatever, like he'd get there, put his foot in the ground, good vision, and get north right now. There wasn't a whole lot of dancing. He did do a good job of making guys miss in the open field and things like that to get some run after contact. But I'd say that's where he was good at. Where Trey Sermon, I think he has a little bit more like kind of wiggle to him. And there might have been a little bit more of, hey, I just want you to get the ball and just run it straight. And he's like, man, like that's not what I did in college. Like that wasn't exactly, where I was great. Where I think Ty Davis Price, he's kind of a combination of both. Where I think he has the good vision of an Elijah Mitchell, but he still has a nice little wiggle, kind of like you see with Sermon. With Sermon, but he doesn't do too much of it. So I think he's a good combination of both.
Why did it take
and typically that's what you get with higher draft picks, right? Like guys that can kind of do both things. Elijah Mitchell was a 6th round pick because he probably was like, hey, he fits this very well, but outside of that, maybe he doesn't do some of these other things very well.
Why did it take Ty Davis Price 3 years to break out? Was he just below guys, NFL players on the depth chart?
Yeah, I mean, they had the kid that got drafted by Kansas City Chiefs.
Clyde.
And he was good. And, that could be part of it. Yeah. But, the other part of it is I did hear, I was listening to his running back coach, Kevin Falk, who was talking about him and how there were some like focus things, and it really helped. Like once he had like his daughter or something like that. Like he had his daughter, then that kind of like reshaped his focus. And then boom, he was off and running.
The Niners love that. They love young parents. I know that. Robert Saleh, I think they think that the kid is more mature. Can you speak to that? I mean, I guess it could grow you up.
Oh, I mean, I had a son at a young age. I had my son, I was 19, turning 20 years old. And it does give you like this other sense of importance. Now, you're still young, you're still immature, right? I was still doing stupid stuff. But in the back of my head, it was always, I got to do whatever it takes to be able to support my son, whatever that is. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but that's always in your mind. So I definitely think that can help you kind of take some of your, like
Yeah.
football to the next level and understand like there's more at stake than just me playing the game because I like it. Now it's like, all right, yeah, I love football, I love playing all that, but now like this is a means to be able to provide for my newborn child.
Robert Saleh has like 7 or 8 kids. They're all
I
about,
heard.
and what he says is like once you have a kid, it gives you a why. It gives you your why,
Right.
which is an
Yep.
interesting way to phrase it. Whenever I talk to him, he's like, "So you haven't kids yet?" I'm like, "Not yet, Robert. Soon." He's like, "Come on, man." He's all about having kids. Come on.
I'd say this and like enjoy your free time now and stuff because once you do have kids,
yeah,
it's not as easy to just pick up and go or just pick up, do this, do that. So
exactly.
Enjoy not having kids.
Fortunately, my wife's a couple years younger than me, so she's got her own biological clock. She's not rushing. She's not pressuring me. So I'm like, hey, whenever you're ready, I'll be ready.
Yeah. Practicing is much funner anyway.